After he got off the noon train from Baltimore, Lieutenant Hill found the War Department on Pennsylvania Avenue, just west of the White House. It looked much like the executive mansion itself, 2 stories fronted by an ivory portico. The streets of Washington City were filled with soldiers in the blue coats of the District of Columbia militia, pitched tents dotting the lawn of the half-finished Capitol dome, girded behind a web of scaffolding. In front of the War Department building, a perfectly white mare had been pulling a perfectly black wagon of coal until she stopped to nibble on some grass at the building's front. Hill petted her head as he let himself in, then walked unchallenged to the upper suite of offices that his friend Lieutenant Snell had told him about. Officers and civilian staff bustled about on tasks of unknown urgency. For about a day and a half, Hill's mind had been paralyzed between dread at the approach of Abraham Lincoln's train and hurt at Flora for leaving town without notifying him. Like a young pup who had received a newspaper across the nose by a previously gentle master, he did not entirely understand what he had done to her to receive such harsh treatment. At last, however, his brain had been able to take rein of his heart. He had reminded himself that Mrs. Mahoney was, after all, a married woman, and there was no reason for him to expect any more fidelity from her than the imprisoned Mr. Mahoney did. At the same time, Hill had remembered that his old friend, Lieutenant Snell, was an adjunct in the Washington City militia. They had been stationed together at Fort Columbus on an island in New York Harbor in the mid-50s, a couple of promotions ago. Together, they had slummed through 5 Points and flirted with the ladies in the main hall at the Crystal Palace on many memorable evenings. Hill had tracked him down the night before at an E Street brothel to ask him if he could arrange a meeting between him and the officer in charge of Washington City's security.
"I'd be happy to, old man," he had said. "If we have 200 guns within the entire district limits, we'd be fortunate. That poor old whore Columbia needs all the goddamn help she can get."
At the appointed hour, however, Lieutenant Snell, who was supposed to make proper introductions, had been called away. The 4th aide Hill asked directed him to a private office, where sat an older colonel with a stoic air, examining a single sheet of paper as if he were